Are you believably a family? No. Are you believably a cannibal? No. Are you in fact incredibly cute? Yes.
You're still listening. This is our final transmission.
It's Final Transmission. Sam Russo, Jamie Carruthers, one horror movie per week. Dawn time, end times. How you doing, Jamie?
I'm doing fantastically, Sam. It's Saturday morning.
Partying.
We've had a big, lengthy discussion about real estate.
What a bunch of bullshit. Join the Patreon and you can hear it too.
You can. But yeah, how are you? How are you, Sam?
Fucking killing it over here, bud. Fantastic. Top shelf. Progressing. Exactly as planned. How are you?
I'm still fine.
Still fine.
I haven't changed massively since you asked me 45 seconds ago.
Always the same.
Steady as she goes. Does anyone in your life reply steady as she goes when you ask them how they're doing?
No, absolutely not. No.
I feel like people
Why?
used to say that.
What?
I don't know if
No.
Yeah, Saturday morning, recording a podcast. Hills Have Eyes. We're on holiday, Sam. It's our summer horror days. That's the month we're currently in the midst of.
Yeah, I needed this break. Get away from it all. Take a little trip to California. Cruise through the desert.
Yeah, speaking of a trip to California, you've just announced a tour in California. Oh, I say just like it was a couple of weeks ago, but
Yeah.
by the time this comes out, it'll be a couple of weeks ago.
Big West Coast Raz with Teenage Bottle Rocket. My buddies, my boys, the Wyoming's finest fucks. That's probably not their official bio, but yeah. We're going to go to a bunch of great places, some of my favorite places in the world. So if you live in or around the American West, come see Sam Russo and Teenage Bottle Rocket in November.
I would if I was that person, although I would have presumably a wealth of options presented to me, and that would still be the best one.
Double-edged sword there. They actually have stuff out in the American West. So the Hills Have Eyes, Jamie. Whence did you first encounter this Wes Craven film?
I think I saw this fairly early on, maybe pre-Scream.
Okay.
Because obviously it came out before Scream.
1977.
Yeah, but I think post Nightmare on Elm Street's pre-Scream is when this fits into my Wesley Craven watching oeuvre. And I think maybe I didn't like it when I first watched it.
There's a clue.
As a 13, 14-year-old, there's not an awful lot here for a young'un.
You at 13, 14. I'm a little bit surprised you didn't at least like it.
I mean, so I
loved
loved
a bit of a tits and gore cruise at that point.
I loved The Last House on the Left.
Oh, interesting.
Which is, I think, officially one of the more horrible films in the genre.
Yes.
And I think this is a different gear to that, and obviously a very different gear to Nightmare on Elm Street. I think maybe I thought it was boring.
Yeah, valid. Absolutely valid. Well,
there's a clue.
Do you think what bored you then is what bores you now in life in general?
No.
Okay.
Then I didn't have a single care in the world. I mean, I had many cares, but like really, they didn't affect me day to day.
Okay.
Whereas now, I am very interested to go and look at a silver mine. But when I was 13, the idea of going to a silver mine was maybe the most boring thing you could ever suggest.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I'm fucking weird. Every time I go anywhere with punks, they always tell me, like when I was in Denver, Tim Brown from Elway was telling me about how punishingly boring and awful it was to be a kid in Denver and have your parents take you to every national park in the country. Have your parents take you to every fucking silver mine they could find. And he's got all these pictures of him as like a teenage goth just standing there fucking dismally miserable next to the Grand Canyon for the 11th time. And I just cannot relate. Like, I loved all that shit when I love going to the Jorvik Center and fucking like any kind of history-based or nature-based bullshit when I was a kid. I was all over it. And I didn't like The Hills Have Eyes.
So when I grew up near Chester, and so we had like Roman shit and all that forced down our throats from like a really young age, and it just gave me a violent distaste for history.
Yeah, there's periods of history I was more interested in than others,
Yeah, but also like it made me realize quite early on that like the history that we are taught and told is like vastly different from the real history.
Because but weren't you being taught the real history?
No, you're being
Oh.
taught like a sanitized, like
Well, yeah, you're 10.
yeah, but like it was always like, oh look, here's a man dressed as a Roman walking around the walls. Isn't that fun? And it's like, yeah, but if he was real, he would have raped 10 slaves today. Like
Again, you were 10. Did you want the Romans raping you for an authentic experience?
like no.
Do you want a centurion's dick in your mouth for a real taste of it, Jamie? Is that what
Or a
you were looking for?
centurion's coin in my ass.
Exactly. For more about Centurion's coins in your ass, join the Patreon where you'll get exclusive access to a new Sam Russo song called Coin Operated Man.
Yeah.
Or should we change it? Let's call it Coin Op in brackets my ass. Coin Op parentheses my ass.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That is definitely a Guttermouth title.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. That song will probably make it into my other band, in all seriousness.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's Commando Boy
so
song.
when did you first see The Hills Have Eyes?
So I think I was 15, and once again, going to my friend Tom Durley's house after school to just work our way slowly through his pile of stolen, borrowed VHS tapes of all basically banned movies. We started with Evil Dead, we progressed through Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal Ferox, and eventually we got to The Hills Have Eyes. And I distinctly remember him telling me before we watched it that it was shit. But Durley was, at that point, a heavily gothic individual who was only into the most extremes of everything. So I don't think The Hills Have Eyes was scratching any of his itches in the same way it wasn't scratching yours. However, I was probably wearing some kind of checkered shirt and riding a skateboard to his house. So we were coming from slightly different cultural touch points. But I remember vividly shutting the blinds, getting a 2-liter bottle of limeade out of his cupboard,
Nice.
some microwave popcorn, and sitting very close to the TV and watching this film quite intently. So I have a strangely vivid memory of watching all of these films around Tom Durley's house, but in particular this one and Evil Dead, but this one, yeah.
And you didn't like it at the time.
I'm not going to say I didn't like it at the time.
Well, you just said you didn't like it maybe 4 sentences ago.
No, I didn't. You
Yes, you
didn't
did.
like it.
You said you didn't like it.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You
No,
said,
I
and
didn't. Rewind the tape. Give me the Zapruder cut.
Listeners, you have the rewind button.
I remember watching this and being completely absorbed. I can't honestly remember whether I walked away from it loving it or not, but I just remember there was a real immersion to the experience because, we'll talk about this in more detail, obviously, but I think it's shot in such a way and it's paced in such a way that you're either all in or you're all out. And I think that's one of the movie's biggest strengths and one of its biggest weaknesses. And as a young person roaming around, trying to have a summer, I think it's kind of miraculous that I was all in, to be honest. It could have easily just happened in the background while, Durley fucked around in his house, but somehow, I got sucked in.
Interesting. What's your overall thoughts about Wesley Craven?
Real mixed bag.
Yeah.
I've got an enormous amount of respect and quite a degree of fascination with Wes Craven's career because when you look at where it started to where it is now / ended, there's an enormous amount of texture in there and some really, really interesting and some really fucking good films. But yeah, he's never really landed in one specific place for me, which I quite like. I think I'll quite often watch a Wes Craven movie and forget it's Wes Craven. I put him in the cool guy category, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that a trick question? Is this when you tell me he's a pedo or something?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
if he is, I don't know about it.
Yeah.
He obviously is horror directorial royalty.
Yeah.
Like he's made some of the greatest and most enduring like horror films of recent and ongoing history. Obviously, like the Scream films, the Nightmare on Elm Street films are enough, but I think Last House on the Left is like one of the defining horror films of a generation,
Sure.
and I mean not remotely pleasant.
Yeah, it's a real one and done movie. You do not need to watch that more than once. I guarantee you've watched it 500 times.
I've watched it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I met David Hess once, and he was a real cool guy.
Oh, nice.
But not remotely like his character Krug.
I met Herman Hesse once, and he was not a cool guy.
You met Herman Hesse?
No, I didn't meet Herman Hesse.
I met Rudolf Hess once, and
Let me guess. Not a cool guy.
I didn't meet Rudolf Hess.
Okay, just checking. It's totally plausible that you would have met him. I think, okay, so you look at Wes Craven's catalogue, there's a whole bunch of bullshit in there too, but it's not really him a lot of the time. He's quite open that he's done a lot of cash grab bullshit just to keep the fucking lights on. That early career, some bangers. How do you feel about Swamp Thing?
I love Swamp Thing. I especially love the sequel. The Jim Wynorski, Heather Locklear sequel is loads of fun.
Yeah.
Like, you take a property like Swamp Thing and you give it to Roger Corman, like, I'm having a great time. That's exactly my bag. Like,
yeah, totally. Yeah, you're all in on that for sure.
Yeah, Swamp Thing is great. Obviously, there has been some missteps. There are some like Wes Craven films that skirt the "so bad it's good" line.
Yeah,
like Deadly Friend and
The People Under the Stairs. Apart from it's just not good at all.
I mean, I forgot that we'd already done a Wes Craven movie on this pod.
Oh, we've done one.
Yeah, and it was The People Under the Stairs, and you did not like it.
I still hate it. I still think it might be one of the worst films we've ever even looked at with our eyes.
Well, you're wrong.
It sucks. Talk about leaning into... I mean, listen, if you have a success like Nightmare on Elm Street, what do? Just make 100 of them. There's just so many.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's shite. But
he only made 2.5.
2.5? What's the half?
Well, so I don't know if I would say that Wes Craven's New Nightmare is...
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Sits within that. It sort of sits outside it and is referential to it. But I don't know if maybe I'm out on a limb there, but I think that like it doesn't really fit in the franchise.
Too meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have massively strong feelings about Wes Craven, except that I think Scream is a modern masterpiece, and there are some obvious bangers in there. In terms of like, if you grew up when we grew up, it's really hard not to have a reverence for Wes Craven because you were lucky enough to maybe see a Wes Craven movie in the cinema that was fucking sick, but also watch some greasy old VHSs that fucked you up for life. Like, that's quite a thumbprint on a generation.
Yeah, I think so. And I think he has defined like multiple different eras of horror. Like, he wasn't the first person to do like a Last House on the Left type movie, but I think he probably did it best.
Right.
He wasn't the first person to make a high concept slasher, but Nightmare on Elm Street is probably one of the best of those supernatural high concept slasher type things. And then obviously Scream, and then, like, he redefined horror more than once, and most people
pretty huge
can't say that.
No, and I think it's really easy to forget how original some of these films are. Like, Nightmare on Elm Street feels pretty blisteringly original as a concept, even now.
Yeah.
Even Scream, its take, its whole approach, even the twist, like, everything about it feels really fresh and novel even now. It's why I still really like it. I still think it feels fresh.
Yeah.
Which is weird, right? Scream has no right to feel so fucking new in 2025.
Like you say, the same with Nightmare on Elm Street is that, like, despite how heavily they've been copied and ripped off and become part of like the vernacular of the genre, they still feel special.
Yeah, it doesn't feel dusty putting that movie on. It feels like a whole, still feels like a wild ride.
Like, we could go back to like Halloween or the first couple of Friday the 13th, and like I don't think that they feel fresh because of the way that they've become part of the vernacular. But
yeah, it isn't a fresh feeling because while there's originality there's still large feelings of, kind of stale, nothingy moments in the films.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same with Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's so sparky.
I think with Nightmare on Elm Street, even like though it popularized the supernatural slasher genre, nobody ever really did it as good. Like, nobody ever really managed to hit on a character that was as good as Freddy Krueger.
But also as bad. Like, they make Freddy such a complete shell of himself in some of those movies. Like, they really take some bizarre steps in characterizing him, and he totally wanders off the fucking pier. But you still have that reverence and that respect for the creation of such a demented and horrifying character in the first one. And that is some of the scariest shit you could ever imagine. Literally, like, what can you pull out of your imagination that's scarier than a burned up paedophile who kills you in your dreams with absolutely no rules. Like, oh my fucking God.
Like, even some of the dumbest stuff in that first movie is still terrifying somehow. Like the scene where he's running with his arms outstretched and he's got those big, stupid, fucking goofy long arms.
That's terrifying.
Like, it's so dumb and also so scary at the same time.
I think it's really scary to you when you're younger. The first time you see, that's a real lightning in a bottle thing. When you first see that film, those arms fuck you up. And then, maybe it gets funnier as you get older and you've seen it a few more times. But it's genuine horror. Real terror. That, like, we've said it before on the pod, but the Johnny Depp getting slashed up in the bed and dragged around the room scene, still the scariest thing I've ever seen in a movie because it ruined my brain for life.
Why don't you give us a synopsis of the movie The Hills Have Eyes?
It's not me. It's not me today, bud. I cannot synopsize the chaos of this film.
Why not?
Because it's either 10 words or 4 hours. There's no way. This is 100% on you, unfortunately. I don't know what happens in this film, so I can't tell you.
Okay, all right. I'll do the synopsis. I think it's fairly easy. The Carter family of 55 people are making their way across the Badlands and the back roads on their way to California for their vacation, and they've stopped off in a sleepy one-horse, no-town town to visit a silver mine that is now a bombing site for the U.S. military, potentially. Sure. They, unfortunately, have attracted the nefarious attention of some local backwoods, cave-dwelling hillbillies and must fight for survival against this family. That's your synopsis.
Pretty good. Pretty solid. I enjoyed the present tense delivery of the synopsis. Excellent work from you.
This movie stars lots of people because there are loads of characters for no good reason other than that we get to kill them all.
Yep.
But we've got Susan Lanier, who is screaming for the entire movie. I wish she would be quiet.
Oh boy, whole lot of screaming.
Yeah, we got Robert Houston as Bobby. We got Dee Wallace in her third appearance on the pod, rapidly becoming our most covered star. We've got Martin Spear as knockoff late 70s Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm.
We got a bunch of people doing a bunch of things. Obviously, the standout star here is Sam.
Michael Berryman.
Phew. Who is, I would say, singularly one of the most terrifying people to exist in the world.
Do you think so?
I think his presence, similar to Kane Hodder, I think his presence is just scary.
Interesting.
And I think both of them are probably some of the nicest guys in horror.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm going to just go out really early here and say that I don't find him even remotely scary.
Not even on the cover when he's giving the Kubrick-y type stare.
Not even slightly. He's too cute. I apologize for objectifying this man, but his presence is so cutesy and so huggable as to render him absolutely inert as a horror character to me. That may or may not be a controversial thing to say, but he's just, no matter what you do to this guy, he's not scary. He's just giggle and hug material to me. So, big problem. Huge problem.
Well, on that note, why don't we take a break, come back, and we can get into some spoilers, into some deep discussion about The Hills Have Eyes from 1977.
Wow, that was a very Radio 2 sign-off there. I enjoyed
that. Whoa, holy shit. I guess that's why they call it Phantom Power.
All right, Sam, I'm back. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
First things first, this podcast is brought to you by Red Scare Industries, a record label, a state of mind, redscare.net. Go there, do stuff.
Enough said.
Have nice times. The Hills Have Eyes, right?
Yep.
I do like it now.
Controversial.
I've come around to it.
I didn't like it when I first saw it.
Yeah, I know, you told me already. But yeah, no, I do really quite like it. I think there's some sort of magical. It's a B movie and it's treated like a B movie, but Wes Craven is somehow able to transcend this with his insane, incredible approach to directing.
Mm.
And I think it looks amazing at some points. And like, also, like, sometimes it doesn't look amazing, but there are just really interesting, cool things happening with the camera. Like when they're on the airstrip and the jets are flying over, like it's so frenetic and intense. It's like that could be Sam Fuller, or it could be like a Peckinpah type situation. Like this movie, more than any other Wes Craven movie, feels like it could be Spielberg. Like early Spielberg, when he was making also low budget stuff like this. Like think about the Sugarland Express.
This feels like Spielberg to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Fuck
obviously
heck.
the content of the movie and the performances and the dialogue don't feel like Spielberg.
Sure.
I can't decide whether
What
the
does?
the performances are bad and that makes the script feel worse, or the script is so bad that the actors aren't able to do anything. I
think
can't
it's both,
decide which
unfortunately.
one it is, or if it is both.
I think we definitely don't have good actors in this film.
No, Dee Wallace
So-
is the best actor in the movie, I think.
Yeah.
And they shoot her in the stomach halfway through.
Yeah. But logically, if we Occam's razor this bad boy, we don't have good actors. We know that. We also don't have a good script. So there's your answer.
Yeah.
It's both.
And yet we still managed to have an interesting and exciting and engaging movie, I think. I mean, we'll see what you think later. Or now. Tell me now, Sam.
I agree with so much of what you just said. And my experience of this film is definitely a weird one because I just loved it so much when I first saw it. It's tough, right? I don't find it exciting or engaging because it does the things that make films exciting and engaging too much and at the wrong times. I think it's so poorly paced. Also, no, I think the pacing is really challenging, I should say. I should be more generous. And there's so much screaming and running around and unfocused set pieces that are in this nebulous desert space that there is nothing to hang your hat on at any point. This film could just completely happen in the background and you'd just be annoyed by it because it's just loud and obnoxious. Or you can zone the fuck in and you can go shot by shot and you can pull out some seriously beautiful filmmaking. Like, I think it's probably hard to shoot some of this desert stuff and have it look bad in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's probably also really hard to shoot it and have it look as profoundly beautiful as it is in this film. The challenges of the medium, you know, he's shooting on garbage old film. There's so many terrible looking versions of this film out there. I was lucky enough to watch both a really crappy looking old DVD and the 4K restoration, which looks absolutely incredible. And I think it was meant to look that good. The clarity of the color, the detail in people's faces, you miss all that in the early, like, gross grainy versions. So it's a real mixed bag for me. I don't have much affinity for anyone in the cast. I feel like everyone's kind of terribly cast, to be honest. It feels like a really badly done job in terms of casting. It just feels like who's here, let's grab them.
Yeah, it feels like they just sort of scooped up like a local theatre troupe.
Yeah, just and I guess, do you know what? Sometimes I think that happened in this time period. Like, we need 8 actors. Do you have 8 actors? Yes. Here's your scripts. Are you believably a family? No. Are you believably a cannibal? No. Are you in fact incredibly cute? Yes. Like, it's ridiculous. And yeah, sure. Like, I get what you're saying about the shooting range, the bomb range stuff, but that's just stock footage over people screaming in a car. If you look at it in the wrong mood, do you know what I mean? There's nothing special happening there to me. But
It's the closeness of that plane footage and the shakiness of it. It feels like Peckinpah Wild Bunch stuff. Like, it feels like
intensity wise, yeah, sure. You're zoomed in close and it's really fucking loud, but that just doesn't do a lot for me in terms of, you know, rating it as
it makes
high-minded genius filmmaking.
it's a way of doing something exciting with something that should be not exciting.
I
Like,
suppose.
it's about taking you, the viewer, and putting you in that situation, so you're feeling what those characters are meant to be feeling. Whether you believe that they're feeling that or not because they're such terrible actors is ultimately by the by. But like, the way that Wes Craven is using these tricks to make you feel the way that he wants you to feel in any given moment, I think is masterful filmmaking.
There's some really good POV stuff for sure,
Yeah.
and that ramps up the intensity of the intimacy big time. It's either a problem with how I watch films or how films like this are made, but there's nobody I give a shit about in this film, and I kind of hate all of the goodies.
Well, I've got an important question for you right off the bat, Sam.
Go on.
You're driving down this backwoods road in the desert, right?
Done it many times.
You happen across Fred's oasis.
Mm.
Are you stopping?
How desperate am I?
Pretty desperate.
Probably yes. I've probably stopped at worse places, to be honest. I gravitate towards the absolute worst of the worst when it comes to pit stops.
It's the last gas for 500 miles or whatever the sign says. So you have to stop.
Also, what does he pay for a full tank in that ancient station wagon? Like $6 or something?
Yeah, it's like $7.50. Yeah.
I'm going to rip my eyes out. Yeah.
The funny thing is that in the 70s as well, people were complaining about the prices of gas.
Yeah, exactly. Get a grip. I mean, people in America still complain about the price of gas. Like, come here for a week. See how long you last. I think, yes, I'm stopping. I'm pulling up to that place. I see it in the distance. You see it for a long way coming, right? That's the thing about the desert. You probably see that fucking place for 100 miles, and you're thinking, there's going to be some crazy snacks in there. There's going to be tchotchkes and snacks and a brown toilet. I got to stop. It might even be like homemade iced tea. Holy shit. Like, yeah, come on, I'm stopping.
I love that Fred is like the opposite of a crazy Ralph. He's like, don't stop here because you're doomed.
Yeah.
But like in the nicest way possible. He's like friendly Ralph.
He's another mixed bag, unfortunately. I just don't know where I stand with this guy. He starts the chain of events that creates a gang of, incredibly violent cannibals in the desert, right?
Yeah.
Why are you there? What are you doing?
He's trying to leave. He's the parent of the cannibals, right? He's the grandpappy.
But I don't understand his life. I don't understand anyone's life in this film. There's not enough context for the characters. It drives me bananas.
I think in isolation, I think he's amazing. I really like him. He's got a great death.
Yeah.
They smash his mannequin body down into the dirt with a crowbar. Like,
the crowbar kill is cool, yeah. He brings a much needed energy. Quite a well-focused energy that seems to actually emanate from an aspect of his character, which is nice.
Yeah.
Not just, a screaming cutout of a human. But he's got a tough job. Like, I don't understand him.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that he's still there, but now he's trying to leave because they've robbed him or something. Like,
I don't get the story of
like
this film.
you've let this your cannibal child grow up to be what, 40 at this point? Like, you've been there for at least 40 years.
Yeah,
maybe
40 years.
Yeah.
Maybe leave, dude. Like, you live on a bomb range full of cannibals. Leave. Is that crazy? I don't know. Am I crazy?
I don't want to get all MAGA, but if you live on a bomb range surrounded by cannibals, and if you don't like it, fucking leave. How about that?
Yeah, right. And let me bring in some crucial questions, since we're picking nits about why someone would live on a Las Vegas bomb range surrounded by cannibals for 40 years. What are the cannibals? Because obviously there's remakes, sequels galore, etc., etc. I think isn't there a remake where they're all mutants from a nuclear explosion? I think I've seen that. Yeah. That's not what's happening here, right? We're supposed to believe that this kid was so evil and so badly behaved that he was just thrown out into the desert by his father, where he just, I don't know, got all fucked up by the desert?
No, so I think the vibe is that he was born deformed in some way, covered in hair, presumably through some kind of inbreeding.
Is that actually telegraphed, or are we assuming that out of nowhere?
That's what Fred says when he's explaining the birth of Pa.
What he says, that he had interfamilial relations.
He doesn't mention the inbreeding, but the child is born covered in hair, and he is a backwoods hillbilly type. So we can infer the inbreeding.
Do you think is that a real inbreeding thing, being born covered in hair? I've experienced.
I don't know. I've never been inbred, so.
Yeah, but I haven't, for the record. But I do know people.
But you do live in.
Yeah, and none of them are covered in hair.
And so they cast him out, and I guess he becomes a cannibal because he's forced to eat whatever he can find. And if that's a baby that he steals from a caravan.
No, dude. I this is where the movie falls apart. I can't grasp the central premise here. Like, it's Wes Craven is not a subtle filmmaker. There's no way he needs to pull the punch of telling us that these cannibals are the result of inbreeding. He just needs to have the old man go, well, of course I fucked my sister, or whatever, like something like that, because it's not obvious to me. And
well, I think it's in there. I do think it's in there. I can't pick out the specific line of text that says it. I'm sure it is in there.
Okay. I watched this monologue quite closely to try and figure out what the fuck is happening. So, all right, let's operate on the assumption that the audience, everyone except me, knows that his kid is an inbred hairy monster sent cast out into the desert. So, what next? He's the monster hairy child survives by just eating people. Like,
Yeah, I guess eating whatever he can get his hands on, and sometimes
they-
that's people.
so what's the family tree here?
I don't know. I know that I am going to bat for this film currently, but like I am only like marginally more engaged in the actual stuff that's happening than you are, because none of it makes any sense.
Good. Okay, I'm glad, because none of it makes any sense to me, and I was a bit worried because this is revered as being one of the most important horror movies ever made, and for me, if it's gonna be that, it has to make sense, dude.
I don't know if it does. I think that like Wes Craven is a master of creating a mood and creating a feeling in you, and I think this is basically like a loosely connected series of vibes. And
Yeah.
the cannibal killers aren't especially well realized. They're also, I don't remotely buy them as cannibals. I also don't remotely buy them as hillbillies. They decide.
Clever.
Yeah, they decide whether they are hillbillies or not, depending on the scene.
Depending on the
Sometimes
dialogue they're given.
yeah, sometimes they're super like erudite and just like talk like normal guys, and sometimes
Yeah.
they're like, "Well, shit me, pa," or whatever. Like,
Yeah, fuck my ass, daddy. And then the next minute, they're literally like master strategic tacticians on, you know, minimally armed raids on heavily armed civilians. Like, I get that we're supposed to just have fun in the desert with goofy cannibals and annoying right wing, I guess, white folks in a caravan. I think the movie's supposed to have a big political take, right? It's supposed to be about civilization, the nature of civilization, and the brutality of the essential human character. I don't know. Is that what you're getting?
I think probably. I mean, a story that I'd read about like the incepting idea of this, and this is funny to me, and I wanted to talk about it, is that Wes Craven was in like a backwoods place, and someone shot an arrow like past his head, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna sue you," like a fucking absolute baby weenus.
Yeah.
And they were like, "We'll just kill you and throw you in a ditch."
We will quite literally end your life.
Is he seeing the irony there of being like, "I'm gonna try and apply my big city liberal approach to your life here, and I'm gonna take that and make it into a movie where we see that kind of doesn't work, and then kind of I guess does work at the end or whatever." But like,
Real mixed message on that one. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he's a dipshit. Like, if you swagger into somebody else's life and bring your bullshit and then threaten to sue them when they do their shit, you're a dipshit.
I think like the idea of threatening to sue somebody is the lamest thing you could possibly do.
It's as bad as like,
It's I'm gonna get my dad on you.
I'm going to tell my mum. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And my dad is going to beat your dad up.
Yeah, my dad's
But
bigger than
worse.
your dad, so
So yeah, in terms of hanging your hat on this as more than just a nonsense Raz in the desert, there is no cohesion to the message here. Is it saying society breaks down as soon as violence is introduced and the most civil among us immediately revert to animal-like survival behavior? Kinda. Is it saying
potentially that, but I think like the family, I don't think they are right wing. I think the Big Bob is
Big Bob
right wing,
is, yeah.
and
But who's
his
the other
wife, what, Doug or Bobby?
Doug? Doug's not.
Yeah,
Doug's
Doug
supposed to
is
be a
giving
bit
me
more
like
of a-
yeah, and I think that like his story arc has the potential to be the most interesting.
yeah.
It isn't really, but has the potential to be the most interesting, which is that like he is very liberal, sort of almost a hippie, I would say, or like that sort of late 70s fringe jacket, like not hippie kind of rock guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he looks nothing like the way his character behaves, which is a problem for me. But yeah.
And I think the story is, or the potential for his interesting story is that like he's forced to become violent, sort of the Paul Kersey, like Death Wish type thing, where you're drawn. The language around Death Wish says everything that you need to know about the thinking behind it, because it all refers to Paul Kersey, Charles Bronson's character, as a bleeding heart liberal.
Yeah.
Which means, like, obviously we're already approaching this from a position of bad faith, but I think like they're trying to do a similar thing with Doug, the Doug character, in that like he is young, cool if it's 1977, I guess. I mean, he looks like shit Nicolas Cage clone.
He looks like Pablo Escobar's twink.
Yeah. His journey isn't particularly interesting in the end.
But that's the rub. You've hit something really important there. The film has no protagonist. So why not just make him the protagonist? He's got the most interesting central dynamic, the most interesting conflict. It's really easy to center the movie around him, but instead we're just pinballing around a million forgettable dickweeds, and it's rough hangs in the desert.
I think ostensibly that Bobby, the son, is the nearest thing to a protagonist that we've got.
And in that case, I would love to know his screen time, because I think he's in it for about 48 seconds.
All of the major plot beats happen to or near him. Obviously, he finds beauty, which obviously wouldn't be the Final Transmission podcast if we weren't looking at dead dogs, and that is a real dog corpse, unfortunately.
Fucking bleak, dude.
Yeah.
And a real rattlesnake? Come on.
Yeah.
Wesley.
It was quite literally the Wild West. So...
Yeah, but there's still absolutely no excuse for either of those decisions. Anyway, moving on.
No, agreed. So, but he finds beauty. He is the first person who's chased by the cannibals. He does all the stuff where they, use their dead mum as bait, which is...
You're making great points. I just didn't realize he was so central, but yeah, and now that you say it, of course.
Yeah, like everything that really happens to him, apart from it's not his daughter that's kidnapped.
Yeah.
Do you think that this movie would be better or worse if they killed the baby?
I'm going to go with better.
Yeah.
Which doesn't feel good coming out my mouth. The cannibals aren't menacing enough to me, but if they kill a baby straight away, your stakes are higher, and your goodies seem more goodie-ish, and they're more driven potentially for revenge, which is a more interesting pendulum swing in their morality.
I wonder if you would be so racked with grief and horror that you just couldn't really function as a character in a movie. I mean, in real people in reality, yeah.
Yeah, but you could you're making a more interesting moral statement if you have, this total lack of Christian forgiveness, this blind rage. Maybe they even eat the cannibals, just take it somewhere completely insane. Just to really telegraph that there is a morality tale here, and here are the strong stances in which we are swinging. It doesn't do that enough for me. I don't know I know ideologically what I believe in reality, but I don't know where I'm supposed to put it in this movie. I don't know who I'm supposed to be backing, and I don't know why.
I think also because Michael Berryman is a staple at this point of the genre, and we see him so much and we identify with him. Obviously, he wasn't that when they made this. He's that because they made this. But because he is a face that we see a lot, and we are, as horror fans, conditioned to like him.
Yeah.
It does mean that it undercuts his menace somewhat. And like you say, he is kind of cute and kind of goofy. He's sort of like the comic relief within the cannibal family.
Yeah. Also,
a dog pushes someone off a cliff. So that doesn't feel particularly, horrifying or violent. It feels kind of slapsticky and goofy.
The whole thread of this dog until it dies is so ridiculous. It picks up a gun at one point, doesn't it? It picks up a walkie-talkie. It finds a fucking walkie-talkie and picks it up and brings it back. The dog is Lassie. We've got this big, bald goofball making great jokes and just doing nothing scary whatsoever, dressed in the stupidest outfit. I'm not scared at all. I'm not even, there's no atmosphere of menace here for me.
I wanted to ask you about the outfit, because obviously
dumb.
Michael Berryman is wearing, the other ones are wearing these furs, right?
Yeah.
And but they're wearing clothes with these big furs over them, these sort of trapper furs presumably from animals that they've captured. What is the fundamental use case for a tiny little flap of fur that sits over your shoulders? Why?
Furry shoulder pads. Again, talk about remove all. So if the menace in this is what it's supposed to be, what everyone tells me it is, it's earthy, it's real, it could happen, it's so violent, then why is the guy with no hair on his body whatsoever wearing a tiny little, very camp fur shoulder piece roaming around the Nevada desert in the blazing noonday sun?
Yeah.
None of this looks real. None of this feels even remotely real.
Is it just literally to protect his shoulders from getting sunburnt?
Probably, yeah, but leave his gigantic dome out there in the sun, why don't you? Like, none of it gels.
Check out his
aesthetically
dome,
for me.
Tuts.
Not doing it for me. Too funny. I look at it and I just think, ridiculous. Like, can't find him scary at all in this, and find him visually too endearing to find scary in most things he's in.
Yeah, no, I can see that. So Wes Craven made this as a kind of an extension of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and how much he loved seeing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and wanted to make something in that, which I think is interesting because I think The Last House on the Left is much closer in tone and execution to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Obviously, the subject matter is different,
Yeah.
but that has more of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre feel to me, whereas
Yeah.
this takes the subject matter of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, sort of, and applies it in a different context. I think that's interesting. The idea that like someone as groundbreaking as Wes Craven looks at a film like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and is like, I want to do one of those. I would like to make my version of this. I think overall this is a good film, but I don't think it's a patch on Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, that's why I'm so surprised it's so revered. Like, it's essentially a rip-off. It's pretty badly done, and it fails in almost every metric when you compare it to the movie it's trying to ape. The comedic... I mean, I don't like the comedy in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, really, but it is greasy as hell, and it is really scary. It's not that in this at all. It's just dumb and goofy and kind of laugh out loud funny in some parts. Texas Chainsaw Massacre has such a disgusting feeling to it the whole way through, with all the flies on everything. Everyone is overacting in exactly the right way.
Yeah.
You kind of hate everyone. It's bleak as hell, but it's hot and sticky. It's got some of the most beautiful cinematography in the history of horror. This is trying to do all of that and absolutely fucking the pony at every turn, just getting it all wrong.
I think a thing in The Hills Have Eyes that doesn't work for me is that you never feel the heat.
No.
Like
Nope.
we're out in the
Nope.
desert in like the middle of the day,
We should
and
be
you
done.
we never feel that.
The
it's
heat
sort
should
of
be
like-
an antagonist.
Yeah, and like I think the location is incredibly beautiful. Like all these sort of craggy rocks and stuff look amazing, and like the idea that like we're here and we get that sort of sense of place that we've talked about before, and like we understand exactly where we are because we're given everything we need to. But then to not have the elements that would plague that place
Yeah.
affect these characters.
We have a rattlesnake. The
We have a
vague
rattlesnake,
threat of a
yeah.
rattlesnake.
But like we
Yeah.
never see someone drink water. We never see them run out
No.
of water. Like imagine like ramping up the tension by having them run out of water.
Yeah,
Or-
which in a movie that's supposed to be about the breakdown of society and survival should be a factor. It's so noted by its absence. I reject the idea that this is an incredibly beautifully shot film because he managed to point a camera in the noonday sun at some of the most incredible landscapes in the American West. Sorry, dude, doesn't make it great. You just
Well,
pointed the camera. Like,
I think
there
that
are good shots. There are good shots.
I don't think necessarily that it's incredibly beautifully shot. I think that there are interesting camera things that are happening, interesting directorial flourishes that make you feel the way that Wes Craven wants you to feel.
Yeah.
And I think that's dynamite filmmaking rather than like beautiful vistas. Although we do get some of that as well, but that is like you could point your iPhone at that and get a similarly beautiful effect.
Yeah, but I think you get a C- for making the audience feel what you want to feel in a movie. Like that's absolutely
like
like,
so many-
the barest bones expectation of a filmmaker is that you create the shot that makes people feel the way you want them to feel.
But so
It's
many
not
films don't
consistent.
do it.
Yeah, they don't do it. They get a fucking F. But it's a baseline expectation of a filmmaker that you make me feel the way you want me to feel. But you need to do so with some kind of consistency, a story that kind of makes sense, characters that are in some way endearing, in some way, and ideally a narrative,
Yeah.
and stakes, and flow and rhythm and outcomes. And this movie just doesn't really have any of that. It's pure chaos. And I think you can lean into that chaos and really enjoy it. You can just enjoy the running around screaming in the desert. Who's going to survive? Who's going to die? How are they going to die? All of that is fun.
Yeah.
But I sort of bulk
Who will
at the
survive
idea
and
that
what will
this
be
is-
left of them?
Yeah. And we don't get to see anywhere near enough cannibalism in this movie either. Big criticism of the cannibal movie. But I sort of bulk. I think I'm. This movie's ruined for me a little bit by just how hard people love it for all these reasons that you can just kind of rationally dismiss by watching the film. Like, it's mythical it's got mythic status when it. I don't really think. Maybe I just don't get it, but
Yeah.
it's just a lot of running around screaming in the desert.
I think like a shot that is incredibly beautiful or incredibly well realized that you absolutely cannot attribute to just like pointing the camera at this amazing vista is when Bobby is running at night and the way that the light catches all of those little like dust clouds that are like kicked up by him running. Oh, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, the opening credits are great. The big stabbing Bobby scene at the end, really well shot. I don't think that's as simple as just point the camera up from cannibal POV and have him wail on you. There's some, especially in the 4K restoration, the hues of color in that shot are great. There's so much stuff done in this with the light parts and the dark parts of the sky, silhouetted mountains. I bet it was a real fucking labor of love to get the lighting right in a lot of these desert shots, because you have to, all this nighttime stuff has to be visible, so it has to be really well lit.
Yeah.
And that all works for me, but again, that's not stuff that I'm going to be like, what an incredible film, they lit the nighttime shots. Like,
Well, yeah, true.
what's
I know what you
happening in
mean.
those shots? Nothing useful, really. That's the real shame of it.
Well, why don't we just quickly whip through the deaths, right?
Yeah.
They introduce loads of characters, and you're like, okay, this is a response to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Not that many people really die in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but they die really brutally.
Yeah.
We're introducing loads of characters so that we know that loads of people can die really, really horribly.
I kind of thought all at once is the
Yeah.
other vibe you might be getting. Like, are they going to capture them all at once, have them strung up? And I remember when I first watched it, I was like, how are these guys going to fucking die?
Yeah. Or like in one big set piece, like Bone Tomahawk or whatever.
Yeah, I think I already knew it was a cannibal movie, interestingly, when I first watched it, because it was part of Durley's cannibal binge.
Yeah. So Fred gets the crowbar to his mannequin face,
Yeah,
and that's great.
it's fine. Yep.
The dad, Big Bob, is tied to a tree and then exploded
Yeah.
with gas that they stole that they siphoned from their own car,
yeah.
which I think is a nice little add insult to injury touch. But
Yeah.
but after they burn him, he doesn't look remotely burned.
I kind of like the burn effect.
Like when they're eating him,
Yeah.
he looks much more burned. But in the
Yeah.
moments when, like immediately after, when he's like dying,
Yeah.
he just has soot on his face, which
Yeah.
I'm fine with. Like I'm not desperate for a burn prosthetic, although I do love a burn prosthetic.
So do I.
But they have it a scene or so later when they're literally eating him, so
Yeah.
why not?
I mean, meal prep tips for cannibals. Don't blow guys up and then try and eat them. That's not how you cook a man.
Do humans have like E. coli or salmonella? Like
Good
if
question.
you don't if you don't cook us properly, will we make you sick?
I don't know. I do really want to eat a human, though.
Yeah, we know. So Dee Wallace and the mum get shot in a kerfuffle.
Yeah, a real kerfuffle. You hit the nail on the head there. This movie should be kerfuffle free, and yet we have a good 20 minutes of kerfuffle here.
I think like that kerfuffle feels exciting in the moment, but like
Okay.
the idea that we're just like shooting two main characters in our backwards cannibal movie,
Yeah, it's just such a wasted flesh.
it's nuts to me. And then also obviously they kill Dee Wallace, who is the best actor in the movie
Yeah.
and is the only person that's bringing any real sort of pathos and character to any of this family.
She understands, as an actor, she understands pacing.
Yeah.
She's delivering stuff in a measured way.
It's just a weird way to kill people in your cannibal movie.
Yeah, it's always a waste in a slasher movie when anyone gets shot. It's always
Yeah.
a pulled punch. Sometimes it's done well because it highlights the power of a firearm. You know, it gives you
Yeah.
we have these horrible, slow, drawn out, torturous deaths happening all around you. Bang, the gun is the ultimate ender.
Yeah,
The
I
gun
feel
is
like
the pivotal instrument.
people who get shot in horror movies should get shot accidentally by their mates. That's the use case for a gun in a horror
Or
movie.
themselves. I love it when someone accidentally blows. Like when I watched Wild at Heart at the cinema the other day, it's still one of my favorite bits when Willem Dafoe just blows his own head off by accident.
Yeah.
Hysterical, even just thinking about it.
Yeah, so they get shot in the kerfuffle. A dog pushes Mercury off a cliff. Beast pushes Mercury. Like, I like
dumb.
it. I
Yeah.
like it, but it's goofy as all hell.
Yeah.
Jupiter, that's Michael Berryman, gets his ankle
Pluto,
chewed
isn't
off.
he?
Oh yeah, sorry, he is Pluto.
Yeah, he gets his Achilles shredded, which is brutal.
Yeah, and then gets his neck bitten off, but he's alive in the sequel.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Just because he's a recognizably cool guy, I think.
Because everyone left and were like, "Do you see that guy? Oh my god!" So you got to bring it back.
Jupiter, he gets shot, and then Mars gets stabbed as the
A lot.
movie ends.
And I do think that is a great ending death. I think that feels really gratifying for all the tension and trauma as a big payoff. That is a big death.
Yeah, and like Wes Craven does a really interesting thing where it really telegraphs Doug's descent into madness through like just a series of shots where you don't have to have any kind of epilogue or thing that goes beyond that, but it does end very abruptly.
Yeah.
And it feels quite jarring. But like, I don't think they have anything else to say at that point because they've said what they're saying. But as a viewer, for them to just be like, stab, 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 insane, 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 credits.
Credits, yeah.
It feels weird. And I think because nobody does that, and they don't do it because it just jars you. But like, what else is there to say at that point other than credits?
Unfortunately, it depends on what the message of the movie is, and we don't know. We don't really understand. If it's about the way that humans can so easily descend into violence and then so easily snap back into civilization, we need to see him drive back to civilization, stop for gas, and be normal. And we need to see that to understand the sad commentary on human nature that we're sort of subtly teased with.
So I don't think that is. I think it's the opposite, really. That once you go mad,
You stay mad.
You stay mad. Yeah. Like once.
So then we need to see him roaming around the hills eating coyotes. Like we need something to round out that morality tale, and we don't get it because we don't really get the morality tale. It's not fully realized.
No.
But here's my thinking, right? This needs to be funnier. There's so many opportunities for comedy missed, or it needs to be scarier because it's not scary to me. It is intense. I can't honestly say that I think it's original or interesting. It is intense. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
And
well,
visually,
that's all the filmmaking, isn't it? The filmmaking makes, and the editing and the cinematography make it feel intense.
Yeah.
And like the stuff happening isn't intense, really. It's
a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of pulled punches. And I do really enjoy the aesthetic. I think the overall aesthetic is attractive to me in terms of what I like to see in films.
Yeah. I love a horror movie that takes place during the day. Like
same. And I love the desert, so you can't go too far wrong there. There are some great shots of people clawing their way around big, craggy areas of rock. There's some great, desert shrubbery, some really nice vistas. And the color palette, especially in the 4K restoration, is absolutely gorgeous. But if the sequel is funny, stupid, devoid of story, lacking in character depth, and hyper-violent, then maybe it's better than the first one. It's just impossible for me to speculate because I haven't seen it, obviously. But everything that this does in a sort of pulled punch, middle-of-the-road, whoopsie-daisy kind of way isn't made up for by just some good, intense editing and some fun shots. So I think this could be the ultimate polarizer, right? We both love the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is an absolute masterpiece. I think it's absolute dog shit.
I don't think it's an absolute masterpiece. I think it's good.
You said it's one of your favorite films of all time.
Yeah, but like it's not a masterpiece. It's just a good, goofy, like down in the dirt, like silly, fun horror movie.
Well, that might be how I end up feeling about Hills Have Eyes Part 2.
Yeah, it might be. Maybe we should watch it. I just don't want to.
It must be that bad. I mean, it's Wes Craven.
Yeah, it's Wes Craven desperately trying to make some money off the back of the success of this movie.
Yeah.
and they shelved it, and he did try and get his name removed off it.
Wow.
And he's made some shit where he has not tried to get his name removed off it.
Sure.
So take from that what you will.
Yeah. What a tricky film from start to finish. It's challenging. I do think there's a lot to be said for the score and the music and all of the sound. Apart from the one ridiculous, flangey, bass-led 80s weird disco chase song, everything else is great.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, you like Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. Of course you like that song.
Well, so that song was giving to me like Riz Ortolani, like 70s Italian cannibal, like incongruent cannibal music.
Yeah. And it was Italian as fuck and completely out of nowhere. Therefore, I did not like it.
I think it's good. I don't think that it's great, but I think it's good. Why don't we take a break, Sam, and come back and finish off?
Break.
Come on, man, does that thing even work? No, there's nothing out there. It's just dead air.
Sam.
Yes.
I'm back. Are you back?
Yep, good break. Great break.
It was an amazing break. We sat in silence for 15 seconds.
This is my favorite part of the day so far.
So a thing that we talked a little bit about, like the killing of the baby and whether they should kill the baby or not. And the Ruby character, who we've not really touched on as like the good cannibal hillbilly.
Sure.
I mean, I don't buy that.
No.
I understand like not really wanting to live there and maybe wanting to leave because, you know, that makes sense. And I guess she's only like, 16 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's impossible to tell because she's an actress in the 70s and therefore looks 40. But I don't like her character and her character's arc, even though she's like, I guess, the only character with a real actual arc in that she wants to leave. And then I don't know if we actually see her leave at the end, but she does because she's in the sequel.
Right.
No spoilers, but the sequel is them coming back for some reason.
Great. Her character. So she's supposed to have an arc. Get it? So a lot of the characters in this film. But let's say you're part of a tribe of inbred cannibals living in the high desert, and you're eating babies, snakes, dogs, whatever.
That's me.
Yep. Let's say that's a thing, and you don't like it, right? This isn't a subtle distinction like, oh, I'm not sure I like this. It's you either love it and you live it or you leave. And I think her conflict about whether she likes this lifestyle is totally unbelievable because she's got a fully developed sense of reasoning, right? She's able to weigh up both the morality and whether or not she likes sleeping in a greasy cave surrounded by bones or not. If you're questioning that, you've already left and you don't engage in any of this baby munching chaos.
I think what I would like from her is a heel turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Stab the daddy in the eye or something.
Not even, no, the opposite of that. Like, do you know when she gives the baby to the daddy, to Pa, and it's the pig?
Yeah.
Do the opposite of that. Give the pig to Doug.
Right.
Instead of running with that terrible, like, doll with its legs flopping around everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, wrap the pig in the blanket and give that to them. And you find out that the baby's already dead. Like, I think, like, the searchers, but instead of getting them back, you just get to the thing and they're dead. They killed them fucking months ago. Like you've been on this hunt for years trying to find these kids, and they killed them the second they left the reservation or whatever. Like, that's way more interesting to me.
I love that your brain went to the Searchers as well, because at one point I sat there watching this, I was like, it's like the Searchers, but fucking nothing like the Searchers. I was really struggling for like handholds in what this movie's like. Yeah. And all I could find was the Searchers and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's not really like either.
I think Wes Craven is going for the Searchers.
Yeah.
I think like you don't have a kidnapped baby movie in the desert.
True.
That looks like this without at least trying to conjure something of the Searchers. And like they kind of dress these backwards cannibals like they're Injuns. In the parlance of that, parlance of the movie The Searchers.
It's like what Roger Ebert said about Babe, Pig in the City. It's like The Searchers, but with a pig.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she's fucking nonsense and could be better.
But like, I just want her to do a heel turn
Yeah.
Give the pig to Doug. The baby's dead. We see the bleached baby bones. I think they originally had planned to kill the baby, and the crew threatened to quit if that happened.
Get a grip, boys.
Like, you're making The Hills Have Eyes with the guy that made fucking Rape-a-Palooza 1972. Like, come on.
Correct. You know what you're getting yourself in for driving out to that desert. You're not surprised when you get there and he goes, listen, guys, we're going to kill the baby. That's not a shock.
No.
Oy, oy, oy.
But all that said, I like this movie a lot. I don't think it's coherent. I don't think it makes any sense. I don't think the characters are remotely cool or interesting. Sometimes they're cool to look at, and it's cool to watch them do things that don't make sense sometimes. Although I do hate Brenda. She screams so much.
God damn, that's
I wish she got shot in the stomach and bleeds out, and Dee Wallace could live to the end of the movie.
She's a good use of a bullet.
Yeah, it makes much more sense to me to have the two parents of the baby live.
Yeah.
Although, like, if you're not going to kill the baby, then you need to kill the wife or the partner of the character that eventually loses his humanity at the end.
Yeah. Whoever you're empowering story-wise with tragedy, you need to kill both of their relatives, definitely.
But I do think it's made in such a way that I can't really fault the experience of watching it. And it's, it's short and it's paced in a way that I think is really interesting. Like, you think the pacing is weird and bad, but I think like it's a slow ramp up.
Really?
Obviously we kill Fred from Fred's Oasis fairly early, but like we know from the title that there are people watching them at all times. And that is a cool device, I think, to put you in a mood watching a movie, which a lot of films don't do.
Yeah.
The title is like, I don't know, the thing that happens in the movie, whereas the title here is like part of the mood that puts you in a place when you're watching the movie. Like, that, like, even when you can't see these people, in theory, you're placing them there. Sort of like how we were in that final scene in A Violent Nature.
Yeah.
You're sort of conditioned by something outside of the context of that moment to feel something else in that moment, and it's
a great device, really well used. There's not enough done visually to really push that home for me, but it's the fucking 70s. It's enough.
Yeah, it's sort of undercut by the cannibal characters themselves because they don't feel like they
have eyes. They're not watching. Yeah, they're just fucking nutters.
They're just sort of goofing around. Like, I guess it's fun to toy with these people rather than, like, I don't know, Deliverance or Bone Tomahawk, where you feel like you're being watched by these, natives or backwoods or Cro-Mags or whatever, like in the background at all times.
Your death is absolutely inevitable. How hard you're being watched, like the oppressive feeling of being watched and stalked is such that, like, we know not to get too attached to these characters, even though they're really compelling, because they are as good as dead. That's missing in this film, unfortunately.
It really is. And, like, when they introduce 400 characters in the opening scene, they just keep popping out of the RV like fucking it's a clown car.
Yeah.
Like, that most of these people are going to die, but it doesn't give you the stakes like, oh, most of these people are going to die. It's like they're just annoying characters.
Agreed.
But I do like the movie. So I'm going to give it, 6 intense, slightly encroaching in close-ups of my face as I stab the knife downwards out of 11. 6 out of 11.
Okay. 6 out of 11. Got you. Yeah, it's pretty fucking high, bud. I mean, it's mid-tier, I guess.
Yeah, and all of those points are for the artistry of the filmmaking. Like, it's not, like I say, it's not a beautiful film. It doesn't look like The Searchers, but it evokes all of the feelings that they're trying to evoke using filmmaking rather than stuff that's actually happening on the screen. And, like, for a low budget movie, like, that's as good as you're going to get, I think.
Brutal praise framework. Are you hinting at the idea that maybe Wes Craven is standing there a bit with his head in his hands about how this movie's playing out while he's making it? Because if all of this is intentional and this is an artistic vision fully realized, I don't like it. If it's a really fucking great idea and a very pure artistic idea with a really cool script and some really clever trickery in the plot, there's some great trap work, which we know Wes Craven loves. There's some real good bait and switch shit. There's some classic references to some classic westerns, and if all of that is great, right? Is he watching Michael Berryman deliver his dialogue and just going, "Oh fuck, I haven't got enough time to reshoot that. We got to go with it. She's screaming too much. It's getting dark." Like, is he exasperated with how this is playing out and just having to roll with it because of the lack of options?
I don't know, but I do think that most of the things that work really well are things in the edit. And therefore that suggests to me that like I've not read the script, I've not seen any storyboards, so I don't know if it's like, and the camera focuses in on the face of Doug as he commits this heinously violent act.
Sure.
Showing that his psyche is becoming fractured by the act of violence that he has to do in order to continue functioning as a person. So like that's in the edit, and I don't know. I don't know the answer, but like I say, given that the edit is the thing that is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, it sort of suggests that maybe they got there and they were like, okay, how do we make this loosely connected series of things happening into a movie that works in any capacity?
Yeah, it's hard to praise that kind of edit, but I totally see what you're saying about it kind of saving the day. Yeah. Well, fuck, dude. I mean, in summary, I like how this film looks. I don't really like what it does. I have very fond memories of being fully immersed in it as a kid, which makes me think that maybe I'm overthinking it now as an adult human.
I do think it is immersive. I think, but besides the fact that we don't reference the heat at all, and that kind of makes it feel cartoonish because, like, I mean, even like Bugs Bunny cartoons, you feel the heat when he's in the desert or whatever.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Roadrunner, etc.
Yeah, but like, I do think, again, this might just be the edit, and it might be that I'm feeling the way that Wes Craven wants me to feel in certain moments. But like, that does feel immersive to me because I do feel like I'm part of the action.
Yeah,
because I'm able to look at these characters and be like, okay, well, I feel the heightened sense of fear that you're feeling, and also you're reacting in a way that is stupid and insane, and I'm immersed enough to be like, well, I wouldn't act that way. I'm not.
I would run immediately into a door and render myself unconscious for this whole movie, and probably only just wake up while I was being eaten. So
it's different to like the screaming at the slasher movie, like, hey, why are you running upstairs? Don't run up the stairs. It's different. It's a different kind of reaction to that, I think, and more interesting. But
yeah, and I love the trajectory of this haphazard mismatch, vibeless cast to Scream, which is so deliberate in its characterization, and every single character is a wholly unique individual, drawn and rendered flesh before your eyes. So there is, as a fan of quite a lot of Wes Craven stuff, there's a really interesting swoop in filmmaking from this to that, and I think this is kind of proto Craven. It's feeling out a lot of shit that he wants to do later in a much more cohesive way. And it doesn't feel like, as a director, he has an enormous amount of control over what's happening in this film. And maybe that is so completely fucking wrong, and you can, research that and tell me the opposite. But it just feels like, in some ways, it's off the rails in a madcap way. And then in other ways, it's off the rails in an I have absolutely no control over what's happening here kind of way. And that's why parts of it are so endearing and enjoyable, and parts of it just completely fall flat for me. I only balk at the fact that this receives such relentless praise and such a rock solid place in horror history as being a genre classic, because I struggle to enjoy it the way I enjoy other movies that I would like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, etc., that I think are really important for horror. But that being said, there is a lot of fun to be had with this film if you just let go of all the bullshit we've just talked about for 2 hours.
Well, so the thing that I think is different here than we see in his later career, even obviously A Nightmare on Elm Street is credited as being written by Wes Craven, but I think New Line were heavily involved in like the generating of that script, and I would not be surprised if it didn't have like a couple of different people do polishes on it.
Sure.
But on a low budget second feature like this, that is just solely written by Wes Craven, I just think that maybe he's not, or at least at this point, he's not a good enough writer
possibly
to write characters. And I think that's like part of the trajectory that he has, because like Last House on the Left also is not well written.
Right.
It's just that like the approach to the horror there is so real and so visceral that you're able to be like, okay, well, these characters are reacting in a way that feels real and visceral. And like, he didn't write Scream at all.
Yeah.
That is obviously Kevin Williamson, who also was Scream a fluke because he wrote, I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is batshit terrible.
Oh, I haven't rewatched it since it came out, really.
I rewatched it ahead of going to see the remake, also
Right.
terrible. And maybe somehow the confluence of the two of them that were able to paper over each other's cracks.
Made magic. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, go on. Give us your rating.
I'm gonna rate it higher than I want to, purely because the whole Weekend at Bernie's Virginia Vincent trap, I think, is really fucking cool. I think it's so unexpected. It's so cleverly shot. We go back to it time and time again in a way that is haunting. Like, I really find it disturbing. But it's also funny.
Yeah.
So for me, the whole tone of the movie that I would like to really see more of and really enjoy is encapsulated in that set piece, the whole idea around that and the delivery of it, including the slapstick elements, which I think are wonderful. So that is what sticks with me about this film. Berryman, sure, he's the star, which is weird.
Well, he's
I
the
wanna
breakout
see him-
star, isn't he? He's like,
Yeah, in a way,
he
I
becomes the breakout because he's so weird to look at.
Yeah, 6 out of 11. 6 gristly bones on the sun-baked but inexplicably not hot floor of the Nevada desert.
6 out of 11. Is this the first time we've been in perfect harmony, perfect
Could be.
agreement?
Could be.
Especially with an esoteric weird score.
We might have done a 10 on 10 together or a full marks together. Possibly
Yeah, I think
for
that's very possible for
Green
say,
Room.
Green Room or Killer Clowns or.
Yeah, possibly. Either way, I love that we both enjoyed, hated, and struggled with this movie in completely different ways, but came to the same conclusion.
Yeah, I wonder if is it meant to be funny?
I think it's meant to be funny in the way Texas Chainsaw Massacre is meant to be funny. It's meant to be funny to a specific kind of person, with a very specific comedy sensibility, and that's we can look at it objectively and understand what's meant to be funny about it. But it's really hard to enjoy because it's not well done. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder about the big set piece that you like, the trap, the corpse trap thing.
I don't think that's meant to be funny.
I wonder if like that is also a pulled punch because like it doesn't really go anywhere.
He should eat her or something. Yeah, like he should get there and start chowing down.
They trap him and they're pulling him using the pulley thing. And then it comes off the wheel and he escapes. And like,
drag him to death with the car and get some real close up shit. You know, have a movie, a filmic dialogue about that particular disgusting phenomenon of executing people by dragging them behind cars. We know what we're talking about. And have that be a thing. And then maybe have the other cannibals eat his shredded corpse. Give us some gore. Give us some violence.
Think about the ankle pain of Pluto getting his leg bitten. Because like he has 2 violent scenes in the movie where he's the victim, Pluto, and one of them is getting his leg bit and one of them is getting his neck bit. Maybe we don't need the leg bit, and maybe what happens to the character in this one, which is it Jupiter? Like, it's maybe what happens is the pulley thing pulls him all the way and like breaks his leg in half. And we see
rips
that
it clean
exposed
off.
see that exposed bone that we see in the Pluto scene there instead. Like, that's much better for me.
Yeah, I mean, again, narrative. Why is Pluto being shredded by this dog? There's not much being said there, I don't think.
No, and I think also this is part of the edit is that like because those are 2 separate scenes that are broken up over 2 different parts of the movie.
Yeah.
I think in theory, originally that was probably one scene.
I think I agree. Yeah, it's his death scene. Yeah.
And they broke it up in order to make him be in the movie longer because I don't know, he tested well or they liked how he looked on screen or whatever.
Wow, like, dude, if they tested this film, I'd be
almost
really surprised.
Yeah, but like it does feel like it's of a scene, right? And they just broke it up in order to like it seems daft to have a guy killed or a guy attacked in a very similar manner by the same dog.
I get the pursuit idea. You know, the dog's got a sniff of him and is after him. But again, there's too much happening for that to be a thrilling sequence.
It's the same. Like he's reaching for the knife in the same way that he is in the other sequence, and it's the same knife and it's the same patch of sand. I mean, I can't tell one patch of sand from another. But do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
like identical in its makeup.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it could only for me be that they decided to split that scene into two.
Sure. I think it might be a case that this is a fantastic idea for a film that's a bit ambitious for Wes Craven's resources at this point. Like the title's amazing. The character names all being planet and moon based, very interesting. The story is cool. The setting is fantastic. But there's just something about it that just blasts off into a million painfully shrill directions for me.
Yeah. All right, Sam. Well, that was The Hills Have Eyes.
It was.
We'll
Poke
see you
me in the
next
eye.
week for The Hills Have Eyes 2. We're not
Fuck
doing
yeah,
that
dude.
next
Let's
week.
do it.
We're not.
3.8.
If you want to support what we do, there are a number of ways you can do that. The best way is to subscribe to our Patreon, where you can get uncut, unedited, long form video and podcast versions of this podcast and many, many others like it. You can go.
This episode and many others like it. Just the one podcast.
Yeah. This podcast, this specific podcast.
Fuck,
They're all
I can't-
podcasts.
I can't have another podcast. You can, yeah, it's easy. Sign up. It's a tiny amount of money, and you get loads of cool shit.
$5 a month. Failing that, if you don't want to do that, you don't want to spend your money, you're a miserly old bastard. What you can do is you can go to wherever you're listening to this on and drop a review and 5 stars. Make sure you're subscribed and have your automatic downloads turned on. You can find us on social media at FT Horror Show, the platform of your choice. And that's it. We'll see you next week for more Summer Horror Days.
Very good.